Next up, everybody, we have Avishkar Boopchand, who's a senior researcher at DeepMind. DeepMind, a long-standing partner and supporter for UmojaHack Africa and Zindi. So help me welcome Avishkar on this channel today. Hello, Avishkar. How are you?
Hi, Sam. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. What's the energy like today for you? What are you expecting to achieve?
Well, yeah, it's quite early in the UK, but I'm very excited to be here. And yeah, looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing what people do and what's on the program for today.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that you do believe in the data scientists we have and Africans, some of Africa's toughest challenges. So once again, thank you so much for taking the keen interest in supporting us as we grow. This means a lot to us, and I believe you'll be able to see quite the excitement from every participant on the continent and the globe.
Have no
Yeah.
chance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that was Avishka from DeepMind, one of our long-standing supporters for the UmojaHack and Zindi itself. So maybe this is the time, Avishka, if you're still there, do you have any messages that you like to share for those participating, say the also beginners and maybe the intermediate, any message that you like to share with us today?
Yeah, I definitely do. So hey everybody, thank you very much for having me here today. It really is an honor to speak to you all. My name is Avishkar. I work at DeepMind in London as a research engineer focusing on multi-agent learning. I'm also on the executive board of the Deep Learning Indaba, and I'm a general chair actually for this year's event that's going to take place in Ghana. And I hope to see some of you there in person actually in September. So I live in the UK now, but my journey actually started at the southernmost tip of the African continent in Cape Town, which is where I was born. I also completed my schooling and undergraduate studies there, and I pursued a career as a software engineer in finance before I decided it was time to make a change. So I decided to pursue an interest of mine in machine learning, but at the time, which was over 7 years ago now, there were not many opportunities to do this on the continent. And in particular, there were no postgraduate programs in machine learning. So I found that I needed to go study overseas. I was lucky to get an opportunity to come study in London, and then even more lucky to find myself a job at DeepMind in 2017. So while I've made a life for myself now in the UK, my identity is still very much African. And to quote ex-South African President Thabo Mbeki in one of my favorite speeches ever, I come from those who were transported from India, whose being resided in the fact solely that they were able to provide physical labor, who taught me that we could both be at home and be foreign, who taught me that human existence itself demanded that freedom was a necessary condition for that existence. Being part of all these people, and in the knowledge that none dare contest that assertion, I shall claim that I am an African. So now, speaking as an African, what really excites me about the continent is the young, talented, and enthusiastic population like all of you attending the UmojaHack. And while of course there are problems, there are also incredible opportunities for driven people like you to shape the future of the continent. The pace of change in the field is pretty intense at the moment, I'm sure I don't need to tell you, with technologies like ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion, advancements being made in understanding biology through tools like AlphaFold. But innovation is also happening just as fast in Africa, where AI is being used in healthcare to cure neglected tropical diseases, or to preserve native languages through machine translation in community-driven projects like Masakane. AI is being used as an early warning system for diseases, to track and conserve the natural fauna with automatic camera traps. It's being used in agriculture and financial inclusion, amongst many other things. But that's really just scratching the surface of the opportunities that lie ahead of you all. It really is an exciting time to be alive, actually, because to think about it, when I was born, the internet as we know it didn't even exist. And what a revolutionary technology that has been. Some reports are suggesting now that AI is actually going to have an even bigger impact than the internet. One such report I saw predicted that the total economic impact of AI would be $15.7 trillion by the year 2030. That's a number with 12 zeros in it. The same report also said that 70% of that $15.7 trillion would be generated by North America and China. The rest of it mostly Europe and developed Asia. Africa would only benefit from a small fraction of that growth, and they estimated a modest 5% GDP impact as a result of data and AI. But I feel that this report missed some really key drivers in their estimates. Firstly, they missed the scale of the opportunity. We are not encumbered by old technology and an aging population. We can leapfrog the developed world, learn from their mistakes, and really leverage technological innovation to solve problems and drive growth, just like what happened with mobile phone technology on the continent. The report also underestimated African talent, and they failed to see our core strength, which is our strong communities. This community spirit and the importance of family and unity is ingrained in our cultures through philosophies that go by many names, like Ubuntu, Utu, or Ujamaa. I think it's no coincidence that the name of this event is Umoja, or unity. Even though it's a competition, it really community. So it's this philosophy which leads us to form organizations like Zindi, the UmojaHack, Deep Learning Indaba, Masakane, Sisonke Biotic, Data Science Africa, DSN, and AI Saturdays, to name just a few of them. It's these communities that will propel us to not only be observers and receivers of the ongoing advances in AI and data science, but to be active shapers and owners of these advances. It's also our collective responsibility to do so. We can't just wait for the developed world to build technology and come deploy it in Africa. Firstly, why would they? But secondly, it won't work, because one can't build technology in a vacuum. Appropriate deployment of technology needs a deep understanding of the problem it's trying to solve. So we need Africans to build African solutions to African problems. This is why you're here today, to learn and develop the skills you need, but perhaps more importantly, to build your network and become part of an extremely powerful, continent-wide community of like-minded people. It's through this community that you'll shape the future of the continent. Also, I'll note that the developed world is not absolved of any responsibility. They certainly do have one, and even an obligation to the continent. But involvement from the developed world or from big tech is to be done in partnership with those on the ground, and not from some boardroom in Silicon Valley. So kudos to companies like Google and Microsoft who have established a presence on the continent, and to my own company, DeepMind, who I believe is investing in the right way by supporting grassroots initiatives like the UmojaHack and the Deep Learning Indaba. They're also funding students through scholarship programs to attend universities in Africa and abroad, and through programs like the AIMS AI for Science Masters. So, since my time is running out, I thought I'd end by sharing 4 pieces of advice from my own journey that hopefully might help you as you embark on or progress in your data science career. First, and maybe not surprising, is the power of community. The African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Community will give you a sense of belonging and purpose, and provide you with opportunities in the future that you won't even be able to imagine today. Second is that being a generalist is actually a good thing, especially early in your career. There's a saying, jack of all trades, master of none. But I think a jack of all trades will solve the most problems. It's extremely valuable to have a reasonable, broad knowledge of topics and try to have as much variety of experience as you can early in your career. This will set you up for success. The most successful entrepreneurs, in fact, are generalists. Third is to not underestimate your talent and your ability. When I left to go study abroad at a top 10 university, I felt inadequate with my South African degree and experience. But I quickly realized that I was just as capable as any of my global peers. you are too. Every year at the Indaba, for example, I meet such impressive, talented, and capable people doing work that's just as good as anything you'll see in one of the top international conferences. And I know the same applies to all of you. Finally, diversity matters. Always try to embrace this by associating with people from different cultures, countries, genders, economic backgrounds, religions, beliefs, thought patterns. Embracing this diversity will open your eyes to far more opportunities and generally make you a better and more empathetic person. In my career, the most fun and productive teams I've been on have always been the most diverse ones, and those have tended to also be the most inclusive ones. There's a ton of diversity represented here at the UmojaHack. For example, you heard Selena listing all the many countries involved. So please do embrace that and try talk to someone who's different to you. So finally, I wish you all the very best of luck for the competition. I hope you learn a lot, make new friends, and I look forward to reading stories in the future about impactful technologists who transformed the African continent through the application of data science and AI, and how their journeys started at the UmojaHack.
Wow, thank you so much, Avishkar. I was literally taking down some notes because it's quite inspiring to see how much of AI is coming to our community, and it's addressing to some of the challenges we're facing. I think some of them you've already listed. We have natural disasters and anything to do with our life. So I think we heard it from Avishkar. Once again, thank you again for sponsoring this year's Umoja Hackathon. If you have any questions for Avishkar, you can use the Discord channel to get your responses. Just to summarize what he's been talking, what is we set as key tech points. You have to establish your community as this powering community. You have to try to be generalist. This is going against the jack of all trades, the master to none. But there is power in being able to generalize and at least having some kind of knowledge and expertise in a couple of things. So lastly, he talked about never underestimate yourself. So we are all building our stories. As we're building our stories in our careers in data science, let's make sure we embrace our capabilities. Make sure we explore beyond our own limits and do not set ourselves the boundaries. So that's it from Avishkar.